Welcome back to BrandsTalk, a show to help you develop and grow your brand in a more authentic and sustainable way, locally and globally, whether it's your personal brand or company brand or your product or service level brand. You learn from thought leaders from around the world, from CEOs, business owners, managers, and experts who tell their brand stories and share their valuable first-hand insights. My name is Brigitte Bojkowszky. I'm the founder and owner of Brigitte Brands, a branding strategy boutique offering online courses, workshops, and one-on-one sparrings. I help my clients and students craft meaningful strategies that effectively elevate their brands to unleash their full potential to shine. My motto: together we go deep and bring the brilliance out of you. So let's get started and dive with me into the world of brands. I'm excited to have Patricia Arboleda on my show today. She is a certified breakthrough executive and leadership coach, former Fortune 500 senior executive, keynote speaker, and the founder of Arboleda Coaching. Through her corporate and individual coaching programs, she empowers driven women and Latinos leaders to accelerate their success, take their careers to the next level, and break through barriers to build the futures that they want and deserve. As a Latina woman, with 25 years plus of corporate experience in corporate America, Patricia knows firsthand what obstacles stand in the way for female and Latino leaders. I warmly welcome Patricia Arboleda. Welcome to BrandsTalk.
Thank you so much, Brigitte. I'm super happy to be here with you today. And beautiful day, sunny. So, what else can we ask for, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's beautiful, sunny at your place in Miami, beautiful, sunny here at my place in Los Angeles. What can we ask for more, right? So
Exactly.
I'm also very happy to have you as my guest today, Patricia. And I'm really impressed with what you're doing. Can you tell us a little bit about your background before we dive into what you're doing, about your journey that brought you right there where you are now?
Of course. So, thank you. So, as you might hear from my accent, I am Latina. I was born in Colombia and grew up there as well. And because of my Latin culture, I was brought up with the belief that I had to constantly prove myself, right? That drove me into always wanting to be kind of like the superwoman, looking to excel at everything I did, and always taking on more than what I really needed. So I started working in the IT industry in 1999. I moved to Spain and I was there for a few years and then moved to the US, where I have been for the last 14 years. Through those years, I moved up the executive ladder. But the reality is that I was working tirelessly every day, always trying to outwork the nagging voice in my head that was telling me that I had to be perfect. So the the thing was that despite every accolades that I would receive, or the promotions, or any executive meetings that I joined, or the titles I was given, I always felt that it was never enough. So the more I did, the more I kept chasing. And I never kind of really felt that fulfillment that I thought that the next goal would give me. So 15 years into my career, I was actually really feeling exhausted, drained, and feeling empty. And I'm sure that many of us find ourselves feeling that way sometime. I was traveling around the world with very little time to myself, really focused on working and dealing with a huge pressure to get results. And I mean, always focused on getting my teams very motivated and engaged. But it got to a point where one day I was almost completely burnt out. And I realized that something had to change. I mean, I couldn't continue working that way because I was risking to really lose who I really was, right? And my authenticity. So I needed to get help and start doing things in a different way. So I hired a coach, an executive coach, and he really helped me change my perspective of life. And the shift was incredible. It's really amazing how by having someone who was there to help me accountable into stepping into my talents and my passions at what really motivated me made a big difference. And so after more than 2 decades in the corporate world, a couple of years ago, I knew that it was time for me to do something new and embark in a new journey. And that's a little bit about what I did.
Hmm. Thank you for your story and sharing that with us. And I can totally relate with you because I'm also having this idea, or let's say also a kind of a limiting belief that I'm not good enough. And I also constantly therefore outperformed in order to be seen, and then to having to be perfect in order to to show myself and make sure that I'm doing the right thing. And there's also we all dealing differently with the way of overcoming that. So my way out of this dilemma was to go on a soul searching mission and reading and listening to podcasts and putting things with pen to paper. So that was my way of dealing with it. Great. So back to your journey and your story, Patricia. You have started your business Arboleda coaching in 2020. So, what made you do this bold step into starting your own business, into entrepreneurship? What made you want to become your own boss?
So thank you for asking. And so the reality is that I have always been an individual who's very motivated about making a difference in people's lives. So that's kind of my key motivator, right? Making a difference. And so I wanted to look for something that would allow me to really focus on what provided purpose or what was aligned with my purpose. I am someone who has always been very passionate about people's development and helping people grow. As a leader throughout my career in corporate, that was kind of what really enjoyed about being a leader. And I have always also considered myself to be a change agent. So I decided that I wanted to spend the rest of my, I don't know, 20 years of my career that I have in front of me doing something that provided a little bit more fulfillment for me, which is by doing what I loved. So I decided to get the training and the certification on executive coaching and leadership coaching. And then I decided that I wanted to focus on women mainly and Latinos, mainly because being a woman and being from Latin origin, I wanted to give women and Latinos the tools that I wish I had many years ago, right? To be able to make a difference in their lives so that they don't have to go through the years of overworking, overwhelm, and overperforming like I did. I mean, helping them advance in their careers without the limiting beliefs like you were saying of we need to be perfect, and so empowering and lifting them so that they are ready to take on senior leadership roles as well.
So if you put that together in a mission statement, what were that?
So my mission is to help advance women and Latinos in leadership and finally close the gap that has been keeping them playing smaller than what they should. Okay, people get stuck in the carousel of perfectionism and trapped by their own limiting beliefs. And basically, I want to help them advance into what they consider being success for them, because it doesn't always be, it's not always the same. I mean, success for me can be something different than what it is for you. So one of the things that I do first is to help them understand what success means for them. And so then helping them advance, fine-tune their executive presence, and create opportunities for career advancement in or outside the corporate world, whatever they decide they want to do. And also helping them build the tools to have an unshakable mindset. So get rid of those limiting beliefs and get rid of that internal voice that sometimes stops us from moving forward.
Mm. That's so beautiful what you do. Can you go a little bit deeper how such a program looks like? What is that what you are offering exactly?
Yeah, so basically, let's just start with what I have found that normally women are looking, right? Women or established professionals and leaders are looking. So the reality is that what we're looking is to thrive and grow, okay? And authentically, right? We want to be able to be authentic. Sometimes Latinos or women, we are faced with the belief that we need to switch on and be someone that we are not just to fit in,
Mm.
right? So the first thing is to help them be successful in their authentic style, right? I also help them be confident and create more impact. They are encouraged to share their ideas and to have an equal opportunity to drive organizations forward. So I offer executive coaching, action-driven leadership training. I do work with them on understanding what their career strategies are. I work on success mindset programs, both for individuals and organizations of any size. So, just to, as a side note, I would like to share with you that more than 80% of the people that have participated in the programs have either been promoted or they moved to another company doing what they really love, or they transitioned out of corporate and launched their own businesses.
Mm.
So, in a nutshell, people get clarity and they overcome their most common and important challenges, internal and external. They are able to enhance their strengths and develop their skills and also understand what are the high achieving habits that will help them rise. They're able to grow their network and build a strong power base. As I was mentioning before, they feel confident and empowered to set themselves apart. And the most important thing is that what people get out of the program is the fulfillment and the joy of having a purposeful career and a balanced life.
Mm.
So that's on the side of the individuals. Now, if we think about corporations, because I do a lot of programs for corporations, so what I'm doing is basically helping corporations enhance their diversity programs, because it's not only to hire diverse or people, I mean, and have diverse teams, but also giving the tools to the people in the organization to cope with the challenges that they face being minorities, right? And sometimes that starts with building the confidence and the empowerment and all of those different things. So with the programs, they're also able to increase the pipeline of diverse leaders. I mean, people feeling ready to step up and take on senior leadership positions. They also boost engagement, productivity, and of course, with a good and strong diverse team, revenue increases and confidence in all areas. So that's basically some of the benefits that people have shared that they can get from the programs
Yes.
that
So
we.
so important to have confidence that you can do something, and then also the clarity, having a roadmap of how to get there, want to be in the future, right? Having this
Right.
vision. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
having the vision is important. Understanding why you want to do it is also important, right? And understanding also that you need to be flexible because things are going to change along the way. So you might have a clear understanding of where you want to go and why, but you need to also be flexible to change the path as needed. And so that's why when people think or start thinking about something they want to do, but they don't do it because they're waiting for the perfect time and to have like the all the plan ready. I mean, I tell them just start because the plan is going to change. I mean, nothing is going to be set in stone. So while you start and you start doing things, then the answers will come along, and then you'll find a way.
Yeah, the things will fall into its place, I always say,
Exactly.
because you cannot control everything. And we have seen in the last couple of years what it means that things just change from one day to the next day, and you have to change your business model and pivot accordingly. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, having an overall vision, you know where you want to go, but then also have the yeah, have an understanding that the way of how you get there might be different than you think it's going to be. Yeah, that you have to
Exactly.
go detours, that there are the roadblocks in between that you have to overcome, and it's a learning. Yeah, it's not a failure. It's something that enriches your life and makes you accumulate more wisdom on the way.
Exactly. Exactly. You
Yeah.
learn
Excuse me.
you learn from those experiences as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot, yeah. So, Patricia, by all what you are doing as a business owner, you also have built up thought leadership and thereby your own personal brand that shines bright. And personal branding is also a key topic in your business. So, therefore, I would like to ask you, what does a personal brand mean to you?
Okay, so that's very. Thank you for asking that because it's very important. So when you're in, or this is a mistake that I have found and I learned from it while I was still in corporate. We have the tendency to think that our brand is our title or the role that we have or the company that we work for. And basically, the reality is that people don't follow titles, they don't follow the company. If you want your brand, you need to develop your own brand, right?
Mm.
So, because the personal brand is what tells who you are, okay, what you stand for, the things that make you unique, your values, and the difference that you make. And well, having a personal brand is something that um, people don't always think about. It's the reality is that it is something that we all need to have and that we all have, even if we don't think we do,
Mm.
because our reputation is our brand. So we might as well just focus on having and controlling what we want to be known for, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And what influence does being a personal brand have on leadership, and why should we be cognizant of that?
Well, a good leader is the leader that can influence people and build relationships, right? And so when you're building relationships, you want people to get to know who you are, again, and what you stand for. People follow people, not titles. And so that's why it is so important to have your personal brand and to have people recognize your values and what make you different than the others. I mean, we can all have, or many people might have the same title, let's say VP of marketing, and we have many VPs of marketing, right? But that doesn't say really anything about who you are. And so, as I was saying, and now after COVID, it's even more important than ever. The soft skills, the emotional intelligence, the being able to be vulnerable and create empathy. And believe it or not, when you need to build your brand and express what you stand for, you're also being vulnerable because you're letting people get to know who you really are and what you value. And so it requires a little bit of self-awareness and courage also,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
to be able to work on that.
Exactly, because of a lot of people that think that being vulnerable, showing yourself out there is nothing that you want to do. Yeah, so that's
Mhm.
why they are keeping themselves from stepping into that courage to show their vulnerability, and that means also living by your values. That means being authentic as a leader. Yeah, and
Mhm.
uh, by
Exactly.
by doing so, you also inspire others to follow you. Yeah, and I think
Mhm.
that also means to be a strong leader, to show to be a strong leader. And also, when it is in the context of an organization, I think behind every successful organization, may it be company, institution, or whatever it is, there are
Mhm.
human beings, and the human beings are the personal brains that make
Exactly.
the organization strong, right?
Yeah, and like we were saying, I mean, relationships. There was John Maxwell saying that if you're gonna be a leader and you don't love the people that you lead, then don't lead them, because you really need to. Um, I mean, take care of the people that you're influencing, and understand and be able to put yourself in their shoes as well, so
Mm.
that you can understand and be empathetic, and that's all part of the vulnerability and your values, and living off by your values.
Mm. So, if we summarize that, do you have any helpful advice of, let's say, three different factors that need to be in place, um, that we can strengthen our personal brain to be our authentic self, and that allows us to own our brilliance and step into the courage and claim our power?
Yeah, so we were talking before about the importance of having clarity and confidence, right?
Mhm.
And some of that comes from self awareness. So I would say that the first thing that you need to start building on and really connecting with is allowing yourself to observe and become self aware of who you are,
Mhm.
and also what you want to do and why. Because when you're building your brand, you're not building your brand only based on what you're doing now, but what you want to do in the future as well, because that is kind of helping you drive that path into where you want to go. And now the other thing that is important is understanding how the skills that you have used in the past are going to help you get there. All of those different things together help you build your brand, right? And so, like we were saying, understanding what you want to do and why, be able to recognize your strengths, and define, and be clear on what you want to be known for. So, what are your key attributes, and the things that, I mean, are non-negotiable for you, as well as the values that you stand for. And it's always good, to also ask feedback from people, and be able to. Sometimes it's difficult to recognize our strengths or areas of opportunity. So when we do 360s, or when we ask people for feedback, it also allows us to understand what's our reputation, how people perceive us,
Mm.
and then we are able to see if there is a disconnect and how we can close the gap. So
Absolutely. Yeah, this external validation, this feedback is so important, because it very often is not aligned with how we think we are showing ourselves to the world. Yeah,
right.
especially I think for imposters. Yeah, I consider myself one, because I always see myself. Well, I was. I'm still. I mean, you will always cope with that, but you think you're not good enough, and then you get the feedback, hey, you come across totally different. Yeah, so there's a huge gap, and that is encouraging. It gives you the strength and the power and courage to make the next step.
Right. And you have a very important point. And when you feel that you're not good enough and people perceive you in a different way, that's a proof that that belief is just in your mind. It's
Exactly.
not the reality.
It's
And
the fact.
when something is not a reality, why would you act or behave according to something that is not true? So when we understand that some of those limiting beliefs are not true and are just something that we heard or we saw when we were little, and we created a representation of that in our mind and in subconscious mind, and we created that belief about something, when we come to realize that some of those things are not real, then we're able to say, okay, make a decision. I mean, am I going to continue, I mean, basically addressing my life based on a belief that is, or something that is not true, and take decisions to change and shift your, and reframe and rewire your brain, which are some of the things that we do as well as part of the coaching.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. I totally agree. Okay. Any advice for corporates who want to shift to solopreneurship and want to become their own boss? Do you have any key branding essentials to take away for those that start out, that are going through that transition when it comes to
So
branding?
I would say that the one thing that I would like to, I mean, that I always recommend, and it's my tagline or my motto, is don't be perfect, be courageous. And as we were saying before, I mean, sometimes that need to do everything perfectly, or um, to be perfect or be the superwoman or have a perfect plan in front of us to be able to step and move forward is not real. So when we accept that we don't need to be perfect, and instead we decide to be courageous, and being courageous means that even if you feel fear of the unknown, because when you're transitioning from a life of, like in my example, I mean, 25 years in corporate, and all of a sudden you're going to move and shift to do something completely new, right? There is fear because that is an unknown. But the thing is that even when we feel fear, we need to step up and move forward and be courageous. And that's basically the one thing that I would like to, I mean, for people to remember. Don't be perfect, be courageous. And don't wait until you have the perfect plan, because otherwise you're going to be stuck there overthinking things, and you're never going to do what you love. So take action, be flexible, and be ready to shift gears as things unfold.
Mm. Yeah, this fear that very often keeps us from making the next step. And you really have to face the fear head on, go into it, and then usually, in most time of the cases, uh, there is nothing to fear about. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
Nothing happens.
yeah, it's also in our mind. That is our
Mhm.
thoughts that are keeping us from actually taking action. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. There's a lot to overcome and a lot to, yeah, learn in life, and yeah, getting out there in the uncomfortable and leaving this comfort zone, because then
Yeah.
it's the place where we can grow. It's the place where we live. It's the place where we learn. It's the place that enriches our lives, and that helps us to get there where we want to be sooner or later.
Right. It is very comfortable to stay in the status quo,
Oh,
right? And
mm,
to stay there without really forcing or challenging ourselves to do anything different. In fact, that's also one of the things that we work on the program, is to understand what are the things that you need to do to break out of the status quo, put together an action plan, how you're going to measure it, and then move forward, right?
mm.
And fear, we have fear all the time. I mean, I just a few days ago I posted something on jumping out of a plane with a parachute,
Yes,
right?
I've seen it.
Yes.
Great.
And I am absolutely afraid of heights. I mean, and I don't like roller coasters, for example. But for me, that was a huge challenge to be able to jump out of the airplane. And airplane, I do it. And right before the having the experience, I was feeling a lot of adrenaline and that emotion of, oh my gosh, how is this going to be? But then when I did it, it was amazing. And so after the experience, and on top of that, I did it with my son, so it was all very special. And after doing it, I took a moment to reflect on the experience, and I thought, okay, if I had if I had allowed my fear to stop me from doing it, I would have lost uh, the opportunity to experience this, which is wonderful and amazing. So that's just a real life example of how we need to just keep and push ourselves to do the things that we think we love, even if we feel fear.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story because we would miss out so much in our life that beautiful and exciting and um, yeah, it something yeah, it would just be part of our life that is missing. Yeah,
Right.
we
Exactly.
have to face it. Good. So we are coming to the end of our show, Patricia. I would like to do a quick word wrap with you. Are you ready to give me short answers?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. Courageous.
So it's taking action without, even if you feel fear.
Okay. Mindset.
Mindset. So you can have a strong mindset, a successful mindset, or you can allow your mindset to stop you. So you better build a successful mindset.
I love this answer. Horses.
I am passionate about horses actually, and I'm soon probably going to be launching a new program of leadership coaching with horses. So that's it's beautiful. I got the certification last year in Spain, and it was amazing.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Love that. And last but not least, brands.
The brand, super important. Don't ever take it for granted. Build your brand, build your personal brand, and because if you don't do it, someone else will do it for you.
Okay. That's true. Absolutely. So never let anyone else define you, as
Exactly.
a personal brand or as a brand. Yeah. All right, Patricia. For listeners who would like to find you and know more about you, where will they find you?
So they can find me on LinkedIn as Patricia Arboleda, executive coach, on Instagram as Arboleda Coaching, or on my website, arboledacoaching.com. And if they want to contact me, they can always send me an email, patricia@arboleda.coaching. I'll be happy to connect.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for being my guest today. It was really enjoyable. It was delightful having you. It was a great conversation about personal branding, about overcoming limiting beliefs and facing fear head on.
And
Thank
getting rid of the perfectionist trap.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Patricia.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
So, thanks to all for joining BrandsTalk today. Please leave your comments. We would love to hear from you. You can also listen to this show as a podcast on your go and just follow BrandsTalk on your favorite platform. If you're interested in learning more about my services, head over to my website, brigittebrands.com. Right now, the doors are open for enrollment, actually until tonight, to midnight. So my signature online branding course on your brilliance, make your brand shine. This course is for you if you want to unlock your full potential and build your authentic personal and company brand with confidence and clarity and with a proven roadmap. I put it in the comments as well. I hope you will join me again when we dive into the world of brands live or by having me in your earbuds walking the talk. Bye for now. Let's shine. You deserve it.